of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PUMP to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PUMP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PUMP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
The tournament is heating up, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. That's because right now FanDuel is giving new customers a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Just go to FanDuel.com/win and sign up today to claim your no-sweat first bet. Then you can wager on everything from the point spreads to which team will be cutting down the net. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable sportsbook bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit KSGamblingHelp.com Kansas. 1-877-770 stop Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. 1-800-522-4700 Wyoming or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net West Virginia.
Start your Amazon business.
Hi, I'm Amy Sherlock. I attended the Wholesale Formula seminar, and I'm now doing $175,000 in sales per month.
In 2020, Americans made $50 billion selling on Amazon. Join America's Amazon expert Dylan Frost, where anyone can learn how to start an Amazon business, only $49.99 guaranteed or your money back. 2-hour seminar Tuesday, March 28th at 2 p.m. for the greater Kansas City area. Register at thewholesaleformula.com. That's thewholesaleformula.com.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Max Motors. 9 major vehicle brands to choose from. MaxMotors.com. It's Truck Month at all 5 Max Ford locations in Richmond, Harrisonville, Butler, Nevada, and Manhattan.
Hurry in while selection is best.
Get a new 2022 Ford F-150 XL Crew Cab 4-wheel drive for only $45,900.
Visit MaxMotors.com.
See dealer for details.
Coverage of opening day is brought to you by the KCKPD, accepting applications for new and experienced law enforcement officers. KCKPD.org for more information. Equal opportunity employer. You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios. Opening day, Thursday, March 30th, starting at 2 on your home for Royals baseball in Kansas City. 610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
Welcome to Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio. On today's show, Markquis Nowell takes over NYC and leads the Cats to the Elite Eight. Lamar Jackson's offseason is going off the rails, and the Royals are starting to look thin at starting pitching. Now, 2 guys who were on the K-State bandwagon long before everyone else hopped on. Cody Tapp and Alex Gold.
There's definitely a few more Nowell fans, I think, after last night. That's at least fair, even if someone wasn't on the K-State bandwagon. How can you not be a fan of Jerome Tang and Markquis Nowell after what they continue to do? And last night they did it in New York City, and they are 1 win away from going to a Final Four.
Pretty much every big name, current or former great professional athlete was tweeting about Nowell last night.
Oh, he was the number one
Mahomes,
trending
Isaiah Thomas, it was Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody.
Hey, will you write a song, Cody, about Markquis Nowell to the tune of the famous Christmas song? Noel.
I thought we already agreed that if they get to the Final Four, we had to do a Jerome Tang song.
Yeah.
I have time for 2 songs.
Let's pivot.
Get 1.
Jerome Tang song to Ricky Martin's She Bangs, She Bangs. That's the deal.
Know what,
if they win against FAU.
I've thought about it a little bit more, and I think that's too inappropriate.
Oh, really?
Under what standard?
He tangs, doesn't work? Okay.
You know the implication.
Okay. I think...
We'll take more suggestions. How about that, Nick, on the text line? Some other alternate options.
913-586-7610 is the J. Southland Tow Service text line. Markquis Nowell, 19 assists. Ridiculous number. NCAA record for Markquis Nowell. and 20 points. Oh, and on one ankle for much of the second half. And not that we didn't know his value to the team, but I thought the particular stretch where, of course, he goes out, getting some treatment on the ankle, that's when Michigan State went on that 9-2 run, ended up taking the lead, or tying the game, I should say, and then taking the lead for a brief period of time, around the 7-something mark of the second half. And that would be their only lead until, again, in overtime. But that was an all-time performance. It was also, this is not just recency bias, that was one of the better games in really the entire college basketball night that we've had in years. It really was. The K-State-Kentucky game was great, but
this was way better.
The entire night of college hoops last night was one of the better moments for the sport in years. I know they've been very critical about the sport drags on and the final 3 minutes take forever and replay reviews and fouls and all this. Last night was the best the sport has been in years, starting with the K-State-Michigan State game and ending with another great game in Gonzaga and UCLA.
So the game last night was never like more than a couple of possessions away for either team, like specifically, I guess, for Michigan State, who trailed a majority of it. But it was always inside a very reasonable distance, and you had an all-time, not just, not like, wow, what a great thing for K-State, not just like, let's take all the NCAA tournaments together, and let's play that highlight reel for Selection Sunday before CBS, and just know that Nowell's performance is going to be on that reel for a long-ass time. Not a game, not a year, not just one shining moment. No, for a long time, because he went 2019, and not to be undersold, 5 steals. Like, I know that that's not the biggest number when people are like, wow, he went 20 and 19, but 5 steals in a game that they took to overtime to win. And you get the background story of he's a New York kid playing at Madison Square Garden, putting up an all-time great NCAA tournament performance.
Yeah, he's mouthing, "This is my city." I mean, it's great. You can't make it up. I mean, it's storybook type of stuff. And the ride continues, of course, coming up tomorrow for Kansas State against FAU. But win or lose, we were talking about this before the result of the game was done. We put it in the rundown before the game was over. Like, win or lose, he's been the best player. And you're like, well, duh. But he's been the best player in the entire tournament. Plain and simple.
Yes.
They could have lost yesterday. Same thing would be correct. He is the tournament MVP right now. Unfortunately, the way it works is you got to make the title game to win it. That's just how it works. But they could lose Saturday. They could lose in the semifinal. They could lose in the
and he should be the
game.
tournament MVP.
He's the tournament MVP. It's not close. Like, there's other great players. Brandon Miller tonight's going to play for Alabama against San Diego State. He's awesome. Yes, he's got the stuff off the court that rubs everybody the wrong way. I get it. But from a basketball-only perspective, Brandon Miller's incredible. Nowell is the best player in the tournament. He's had the best 3 games. Not close. Setting records. Controlling the game. Like, he is in full control when he is on the court. And it's fun to watch. And then you add in the sequence where he's maybe arguing, maybe not arguing with Jerome Tang as he's calling out a play.
It's clearly staged, which is fantastic.
Meanwhile, he's throwing up an alley-oop. And this is what it sounded like, by the way.
They stayed with it. There's the lob for Key. Oh, my goodness, a stuff over his head. Keontae Johnson with 22. K-State leads 94-92 with 52 seconds to play.
Wyatt Thompson on the K-State Sports Network right here on 610 Sports Radio last night. That was, I mean, that's, you talk about moments, memorable moments in Sweet 16, just the entire performance by Nowell, but that play right there where he's looking over at Jerome Tang and he sees out of the corner of his eye Keontae Johnson just wide open. And I don't know what Michigan State was doing throughout much of the night. The backdoor cuts were there the entire game. It was incredible. The entire game. They had no answer for it.
I know that they were a 3 seed, so it's not like nobody thought that this was plausible. But I was trying to decide, because the camera guy shot. Kudos. Like, he gets them both in the frame. You see an argument, then the quick pan to the reverse alley-oop. Bravo, sir, on that end. But, like, I was trying to go back through, and I was like, I didn't see this kind of run coming from K-State.
Why would you?
And then, but then I was like, well, why? Why didn't I see it coming from K-State? And then you look at all their losses, and they're all just a Big 12 teams, and I'm like, that's it. It was a really hard year to decide just who the best teams in the Big 12 might be come tournament time, because that conference was a mess. Everyone could beat everybody. TCU's beating everybody. Kansas is beating everybody. Texas is beating everybody. It's like everyone was 1-1 against each other. And so when it came to the tournament, I wasn't sure which of these teams were going to stand out amongst the rest. And it turns out, mostly because of some of the old adages of tournament stuff, guard play or whatever.
Boy, oh boy, has that
Because
shown.
look, they needed Nowell to just play. He's playing better basketball, as you said, than anybody. And when you're, it wasn't just that. To me, the thing we talked about with them yesterday that really stands out is they are the most comfortable team in the entire tournament. They look so loose, so fine. Like, because the alley-oop you just played, that would be cool with 8 minutes to go in the first half, Gold. That was with a minute to go in a tie game. They're running a fake play where they're arguing, where he throws a borderline no-look reverse alley-oop for his 18th or 19th assist of the night. I mean, it's not just that he did that and that play was fun. It's where they did it. This team has really surprised me. I just, I think you had thought maybe I predicted them to win Kentucky and I predicted them to win Michigan State, but I wasn't sure about either of those games. Hell, there were people who thought they might lose to Montana State. And yet they have been consistent performers this entire time.
They are favorites now. Like, that's the thing. They are favorites to get to the Final Four. Think about that. They are favorites, 2 points. It's up to 2. It opened at like 1, and we'll see where the line goes. They are 2-point favorites against Florida Atlantic, who upset Tennessee last night as well. And of course, now if you start looking, yesterday when we were talking about K-State, we said value-wise, like, value plus K-State was 25-1 to win the championship. They're now 11-1 today. That's how quickly
they just start the tournament. My God.
Way back when, before the season started, what if I told you they had worse odds than Princeton to win the national championship?
No.
Yes. Yeah.
Than Princeton?
Before the season started. I'm talking.
No, obviously
November.
they got halfway through the year and they're competing heavily at the top of the Big 12.
I'm talking in November.
Oh, my God.
In November, they had worse odds than Princeton, who, of course, is still alive as well. But it's just remarkable. And that speaks to, we'll talk more about Jerome Tang in particular at 11 o'clock today, but what he's been able to do, what clearly has to happen for K-State with Jerome Tang going forward, and that's like a no-brainer in terms of contract type of discussions after this run ends, if you're Kansas State, with the job that Jerome Tang has done, and you listen to him in the postgame and his energy level and the relationship that he clearly has with his players. We'll talk about Jerome Tang and continue to show him some love as well. But you have to start with Nowell and what he was able to do now in 2 consecutive performances. And this one was that much greater. You laid out the scenario. To do it, it is kind of like movie script-esque, going to the Garden and having that performance in that stage of the tournament too. It wasn't just, he's playing at his the most famous arena in the world in his hometown for a tournament game. No, it was a Sweet 16 game, and he gets hurt in the game. Like, that adds to it. And a lot of times, some of these great sports moments, someone gets hurt in the game, and he has to battle through it.
Relatively familiar with that. That
ankle.
Just happened in Kansas City.
There's the correlation, absolutely, to the Chiefs and Mahomes. There are 2 examples of it. One, it's the ankle. We know about Mahomes' ankle, and you have Nowell playing through a hurt ankle. And then even that one play that we referenced, the alley-oop, where he's, seems to be like disagreeing with Jerome Tang. Yeah. And if it was a bluff, we saw that play out a year ago in the playoffs with Travis Kelce and Mahomes bluffing, like where Kelce's putting his hands out against the Buffalo Bills on the 13-second drive as if he doesn't know what they're doing, and all along he knew he was going to throw the ball to Travis Kelce.
To me, that speaks to the comfort. The thing we always say about the Chiefs is when they're doing those things in those moments is no one is more confident in the thing that they're doing, especially amongst the 2 of them, than those guys. Nowell treated that moment exactly like that. I know he's comfortable. He was taking ill-advised logo threes the final 2.5 minutes of that game. Look, he wasn't even hitting the shots. But he was so confident in that moment, he's like, I'm just going to keep taking shots from like all the way back here on the paint. You're like, maybe don't. Maybe take a better shot, get a better look, figure something out, but it didn't matter. When you're playing at that level of confidence, the rest of it doesn't matter. And then you find yourself as a favorite because FAU pulls the upset against Tennessee last night. So now you'll have a chance to take on, and look, they're a good team. They've made the Elite Eight. So it's not like FAU is, they're no longer like we asked this question, remember at the beginning of the tournament. We were talking about Princeton as a 15 seed. We're talking about the Elite Eight. I don't care about your seed anymore. I'm just like talking about how FAU's playing, which is great. So they're going to be a difficult matchup for you, but you are like you said, the favorite to go to a Final Four. Kansas State has never been in a Final Four in a 64-team field. The only time they made Final Fours, the 4 times, were all when it was a 16-team field. So, I mean, this would be the greatest accomplishment in Kansas State basketball to beat FAU on Saturday. So, I mean, it's fun. I didn't see this kind of season coming from K-State certainly to begin the year. And then even as they were better and better and better this year, you and I both said, man, they just get to a Sweet 16, and this is going to be a hell of a year, hell of a tournament. Everyone's going to think, wow, look at what they've done. And yet now they find themselves on the doorstep possibly of a Final Four.
We'll talk more K-State and tournament coming up in 11 o'clock hour. Also, there's games in Kansas City tonight where tickets are only like $25 or $30 or so. And Carrington said that he bought a couple tickets for the game tonight. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But the draft is about a month away now. We're almost just about a month away from the draft right here in Kansas City. And we've talked about what the Chiefs need to do prior to the draft. What do they not need to do come draft night as well?
Let's talk about the important stuff. Because there's always pitfalls. The Chiefs have been really good about avoiding all of those pitfalls. And admittedly, we trust in Veach not to do it. But I always think there's a couple of things, like probably last year in safety with me, right? Don't do this. Now, we don't need to say the obvious because I don't think they're taking a first-round running back, so we don't want to have to bring that up. But the pitfall I want them to avoid this year is thinking they have to go heavy on offense because last year's pick was 80% defense. I don't think this is the year that you need to reverse it. Because along the offensive line, you're very comfortable. At running back, you're very comfortable. We've talked about wide receiver and how we think they're going to address that. So it's certainly going to be a part of it. But to me, the key to this thing still is building up what is one of the league's youngest defenses, with the oldest players only 28, and making sure that becomes a strength for your team because it is a cheaper way to build an elite-level defense than paying those guys ever. So if you want to keep your defense or improve your defense, really, from where it was last year, I don't want them to make the mistake of thinking too much offense this draft.
So, one, based off of draft history recently for the Chiefs, I don't think, and I know you're not saying you are, I'm not too concerned that they're going to have these draft mistakes because, frankly, they've been as good as anybody in the NFL drafting players over the last 2 or 3 years in particular. My only thing would be, and we've talked about whether or not this is a real thing, and Clark Hunt's come out and discussed it as well, and that is, hey, if you're there and you got the crowd, it's in Kansas City, you're at pick 31, but the guy that you view as best player available you think's going to be there in 8 picks anyway, as much as fans might hate it, don't be afraid to trade down if you need to. Like, don't feel like you have to
Don't feel obligated to pick at 31.
Yeah, and I don't think they will. And we've discussed.
I still worry about the Kansas City thing, man.
I mean, so
I'm telling you, it has to factor.
I do as well, and I know Clark Hunt has come out basically and said, like, look, if there was truly a deal that we thought makes our team better, we're not going to not do it just because it's in Kansas City. But you know, they would love the Chiefs to have a pick in the first round on that stage in Kansas City, and what that moment, especially now, actually after winning the Super Bowl, even more so. Because they're going to introduce you as the Super Bowl champs, and it's going to be an unbelievable moment. It'll be the moment of the first round for Chiefs fans.
I'm telling you right now.
And for Kansas City.
Even if there's a good deal at 31, they're not going to trade it.
I hope not, but I don't think they should. Again, that would be moments like, if you like,
you're like,
don't
hey,
just do it because of that. That's not smart.
But listen to the moment you just described. Like, if there's a trap I'm worried they'll fall into, it's this one. Because I told you I was worried about that from the very beginning. This notion, because Clark Hunt made a joke, and I think sometimes there's a little bit of truth in jokes like that.
And then he came back months later and clarified.
But he also said, like, he'd think it'd be cool if they made a pick.
Of course.
So, like, he's still standing on that ground. We're like, well, I'd like to. I don't know that I'd stand in the way, but, be a pretty cool moment for the draft to be in Kansas City, standing up there, and Roger Goodell, like you said, stepping to the podium and be like, and now with the final pick of the first round, the defending Super Bowl champion,
they better have somebody
Kansas
else.
City Chiefs are on the clock.
They better have somebody else than Roger Goodell announcing that pick. They better have, I don't know, they need a former player or somebody, or a current player. They need Travis Kelce announcing the pick or something. That's what needs to happen.
Do they ever do current players for those?
If it's in your city, I think you're more likely that would happen. Otherwise, no.
I was about to say, that wasn't something I remember there are a lot of former players.
Travis Kelce announcing the pick, and the Chiefs select tight end. Wait a second. Dalton Kincaid.
God, that would be a fantastic moment. He wouldn't care. Kelsey is certainly.
Why would
I'll
he?
say
He's
this.
a future Hall of Famer.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, could you imagine Kelsey being insecure about that right now? Like, well, they're not drafting my replacement. They're just drafting another dude who's going to make my life easier. Sounds good to me.
That would be pretty funny. They could also draft the guy that's on television right now for Good Morning Football, and that's LSU. B.J. Ojolari. That would be perfectly fine for me at 31.
He was on the board for you during our mock draft, and you didn't take him.
Almost drafted him. I would like
close?
that pick. Yeah, dude, just all over.
If you could go back, would you take B.J. Ojolari with your pick?
No.
Sticking with tackle, huh?
Yeah, I'll stick with the DeJuan Jones.
I just feel like the mistake part of it, I think it's going to be hard for me to think, hey, don't, like the mistakes I would normally say, don't take a running back too early. Don't take a safety too early, because they signed a safety to protect themselves from that. They're still paying Justin Reed right now. They have Brian Cook, who they took last year. So it's hard to think there are that many missteps that the Chiefs can make in this year's draft. But I think the two that we've mentioned are probably the biggest ones. I think saying you have to hold on to that pick 31 is doing that. And I would say generally maybe the third one that goes in line with that is Brett Veach has only traded up the one time, and you shouldn't be afraid to do it twice. They once again go into a draft for the second straight year where they don't need all 10 picks that they're getting ready to have. You've had more success late round than pretty much any GM over the last decade. So, if you got to use a third or a fourth to move up in the first to make sure you get your guy, it's worth it. I know that the large prevailing theory, especially amongst analytic communities, is that you should never trade up. The value's never there. It's never worth it. It's a unicorn to say that there's a your guy. But it's objectively not true when you get it right. You're playing against the odds, essentially, right? The odds are better to trade down, accumulate, and hope for the best. But if you're scouting the way the Chiefs are right now, can you really say that? When they're going up, like when they went up for McDuffie, it was right. That was the right choice.
Have you ever heard of somebody named Ken Francis? Have you ever heard of him?
Not until yesterday.
Have you ever bought anything off of a television commercial? Have you ever bought just a TV ad, an infomercial, or anything like that? About a product? You seem like somebody that has bought something off an infomercial before.
No,
like
never
cooking supplies or something.
No, never had one of those. I've been tempted by one of those those pizza. I want one of those pizza stove things. Those look cool.
Yeah. But you've watched Shark Tank or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen some.
What if I told you basically somebody that would likely be on a show like Shark Tank might be trying to negotiate on Lamar Jackson's behalf? That's what the NFL's alleging. So the NFL sent out a memo yesterday warning teams not to negotiate with a man named Ken Francis about Lamar Jackson. We know Lamar Jackson currently seeking a big deal. He's got the right to, with an authorized and certified NFLPA agent, to seek a deal with somebody else. But the NFL sent out a memo saying violation of this rule may result in disapproval of any offer sheet or resulting player contract entered into by Mr. Jackson and the new club. And it turns out this Ken Francis guy is a Florida man who recently was pitching a home fitness invention. He, according to the NFL, has been trying to negotiate a 9-figure contract with NFL teams who are being told they're not allowed to negotiate with him because he's not a certified agent. Okay. Then Lamar Jackson, 10 minutes after this memo gets sent out, tweets out a commercial that he's starring in.
For the Total Gym.
The tweet says, my business partner Ken and I will be dropping the entire gym this summer. And it's a video of Lamar wheeling out this entire gym, and it shows him working out. And it's this mobile gym thing. And it does look like a product somebody would be pitching on Shark Tank. Lamar Jackson denies that he's been negotiating on his behalf, but multiple NFL reporters have said it's not so much that he actually was negotiating. He hasn't got to that step. Teams won't even negotiate with this Ken Francis guy because they know they can't, but that he's been trying to at least discuss something to open up the conversation, which is not allowed. What a mess, man. What an entire mess this whole thing is. It's, to me, more proof of the need to have an agent. And I know some of you might be like, well, Laramie Tunsil just got a huge deal with it without an agent. Right. The difference is you don't have any control of the situation clearly right now if you're Lamar Jackson. You got some guy inventing fitness products that's causing all kinds of issues with your contract negotiations.
Looks like an old CD player.
Yeah, it looks like crap, by the way.
Looks like a boombox.
It looks like one of those where it's not it's a prototype or whatever because it looks cheap as hell.
Look, here's the thing. Clearly what happened here is they are going into business together. I think he actually is trying to sell us to NFL teams, and while he was there taking a meeting, he's like, my boy Lamar's looking for a job. You interested? I could let him know you're interested. That's what happened. I don't think he was fully trying to negotiate.
Because teams wouldn't, so he couldn't even get to that step.
Yeah, I don't think he ever got to the point of being like, this is the dollar amount that he's looking for. But he was clearly tossing some, he'd be interested if you're interested, like passing notes in a class. Do you like me? Circle yes or no. He was essentially doing that with NFL teams, which is an insane thing to do when you're playing quarterback in the NFL and we're talking about a contract. They're going to have $200 million in guarantees.
It's
ludicrous. He has got to get himself together or he's going to blow all this money. He's going to have a chance. He's never going to get this contract if he doesn't get an agent and figure this out.
Look, people that maybe don't like Drew Rosenhaus or whatever, but I'll tell you this. If Drew Rosenhaus was Lamar Jackson's agent, this extra stuff on the outside, I'm not saying he'd have his fully guaranteed contract. I doubt that. But this extra stuff that's out there and the controversy and the unknown and the speculation, like if you're upset if you're Lamar Jackson that you think some of the stuff that's being reported is incorrect, and there might be some stuff that's being reported that's incorrect, at this point you're almost at a spot where you need to almost do a sit-down interview with somebody and explain what the hell's really going on, which is also unheard of, by the way. But that's the issue, that there's so much stuff out here, he has no control of the narrative whatsoever. If you have a real NFL agent with you on your side, there's a chance that at least you're able to counteract what has been pushed out there by likely NFL owners, by the Ravens, by others, but he has no control of the situation.
No, but that's his own doing.
Sure.
Like he's chosen to try to do this on his own, to try and go it alone at the most important position in all of professional sports. I'm sure he could get a contract on his own and save himself the 5%. And you and I have talked about this as far as like money goes, and athletes are like, well, they're not, it's still a few $1 million we're talking about here. But I'm like, when you get $200 million on a line, the 5%, 2%, whatever the hell the number is, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's different. You're negotiating that kind of money. You're willing to take the 5% versus if you're negotiating a much smaller contract, it may not make sense for you. But on these deals, there's a reason why people do hire agents. It's not just negotiating the contract. It's also managing the PR aspect of what gets pushed out there in narratives.
So the Rosenhaus could be like, hey, he's not asking for a fully guaranteed contract. We're not sure where that story came from, but they're full of it.
Right.
And when Drew Rosenhaus says, he'd be like, all right, maybe he's not really doing it. Let's give a call. Let's find out what the number really is. Versus he's kind of refuting that that's the fully guaranteed. And then he's like, I didn't get $200 million offer guarantee. I had this, whatever, right? It's always the same stuff.
Coming up next, we'll get back into the Chiefs a little bit and the moves that are happening away from Kansas City. Plus, the Chiefs just made a signing. We'll tell you who it is next.
You're listening to Cody and Gold, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Subscribe and download all new episodes of Nick's Waving in the Wheat podcast, released every Thursday on the 435 Podcast Network and the Odyssey app.
In just 2 months, it'll be 2 years since I underwent SBK Advanced LASIK for my friends at Dury Vision. I was going back and thinking all the things that have changed since then, things I've been able to do a lot easier traveling, all because of not needing contacts or glasses anymore. A trip to Colorado or going rafting, there's no way I would have been able to wear glasses on the rafting trip. We were getting soaked. Water was coming over us. I just would have been a pain, would have had contacts in all day long. My eyes would have been itchy. It was that. Maybe it was our trip to Nashville over the last 2 years where we're out very, very late on Broadway Street there in Nashville. Next morning, no way my contacts would have wanted to cooperate. None of that matters anymore because I don't use contacts or glasses. I see better than I ever have, and it's because the great staff at Dury Vision told me after my long, extensive consultation that, you know what? You are a candidate. Despite being told you're not a candidate in the past, you can undergo SBK Advanced LASIK. Just call Dury Vision like I did, 913-491-3330, or go online to duryvision.com and find out more information how you can make the best decision ever like I did.
It's Josh Klingler. It's that time of year again where I'm throwing stuff on the outdoor flat top for dinner, and I stopped by my neighborhood Hy-Vee store and beeline to the meat department for some ribeye steak to make some cheese steaks. By the way, Hy-Vee Prime Reserve beef is the same steakhouse quality you're going to find in Kansas City's best restaurants. It's the highest quality corn-fed beef raised on family farms right here in the Midwest. I'm also on a salmon kick right now, and I only buy Hy-Vee's Responsible Choice Seafood, backed by their commitment to sustainable and responsible sources. You hungry yet? I'll catch you at the meat and seafood department at Hy-Vee.
Spring into savings this weekend at Hy-Vee's gigantic 2-day Fuel Saver sale. Shop Hy-Vee this Friday and Saturday. Swipe your Fuel Saver Plus Perks card and earn a 50-cent per gallon fuel discount with your $50 purchase. Look for Hy-Vee's everyday value and low price lockdowns throughout the store. Spend just $50 and save 50 cents per gallon. That's a $10 savings on a 20-gallon fill-up. You'll jump for joy this Friday and Saturday only at your Kansas City area Hy-Vee. Valid in store only. See store for details.
The Landing in Liberty, the largest sports bar north of the river, and the home of over 65 HD TVs with every sports package. Hey, our motto is any game, anytime. 10,000 square feet under one roof to provide adequate social distancing. Our nonstop patio is not covered, but in the winter it's home to the only dine-in heated igloos in the Northland. Each igloo has its own TV and sound system and seats up to 8 people. The Landing has a great menu featuring the best dry rub wings in Kansas City and the home of the Ben Mallard chicken fingers. Most of our menu items, dressing and wing sauces are house-made. Daily food specials, happy hour every day from 3 till 7 p.m. Live music on our smoking patio Thursday through Sunday nights. Make your next destination the Landing in Liberty. Food, fun, music, and sports. The Landing in Liberty, 1189 West Kansas Street in Liberty. Check us out online at thelandingeateryandpub.com. We'll see you at the Landing.
Hey, it's Carrington from The Drive here, and the tournament is heating up, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a no-sweat first bet that's good for up to $1,000. That's up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Go to FanDuel.com/CDOT to sign up today and claim your no-sweat first bet. And then you can wager on everything from the money line, point spreads, the same-game parlay, or which team you think is going to be cutting down the net, all on the app that's safe, secure, super easy to use. And what's most important is you get paid your winnings fast. So take your shot at a no-sweat first bet that's good for up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Go to FanDuel.com/CDOT to sign up today and make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas on agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured, so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly, different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Hey guys, this is Keenan Thompson. I have a problem with you. Yes, you. None of y'all told me that AutoTrader has millions of new and used cars that I can shop from home. I thought we were friends. I put smiles on your face, but I'm not smiling. No one told me that with AutoTrader, a dealer can deliver cars to my home or that I could shop by price on AutoTrader. No one. Consider this friendship that you just learned we had officially over. Finally, it's easy. AutoTrader.
I switched to Boost Mobile and got a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Want to know the best part?
It was free?
Nope.
The fact that it's on America's largest 5G networks?
Nope. It's the ding.
Oh yeah, love the ding.
Right? It's all about the ding. It's the dingarooski, the dingaroner, the ring-a-ding-ding.
Unleash your power to save with Boost. Get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone when you switch. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power.
And the ding.
Limited time offer. New customers only. Available on select networks. 5G not available everywhere. One device per line. Tax excluded. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
It's March. That can mean only one thing. The madness is here. Not in front of a TV on game day? Listen to every round of NCAA March Madness live from Westwood One. Free in the Odyssey app. Catch all the biggest moments of the tournament, no matter where you are. From Cinderella's.
A 15 seed will head to the Elite Eight.
To buzzer beaters.
Atkinson scores! 1.4 seconds left.
To champions.
For the fourth time.
It's time to go dancing. Download the Odyssey app today to get started.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. Technicians you can trust with your house keys.
At Anthony, we get the job done right the first time. That's why you know us as the technicians you can trust with your house keys. It's the final month to receive a furnace for free when you purchase a new AC. Schedule online today at anthonyphce.com.
Coverage of opening day is brought to you by the KCKPD, accepting applications for new and experienced law enforcement officers. KCKPD.org for more information. Equal opportunity employer.
Well, the Chiefs got themselves a pass catcher. They just signed one, guys.
Is it Odell?
It's not Odell.
Oh, it's Hopkins?
It's not Hopkins.
DJ Shark so that Nick can jump out the window?
It's not him. It's a familiar face, actually.
Oh.
Not DeMarcus Robinson.
Yeah, that would have been...
Blake Bell has been re-signed, according to Ian Rappaport, on a one-year deal.
Okay, so they're out on Dalton Kincaid, huh?
I got no tight ends now. Means no way you can draft one.
Well, Jody can play wide receiver.
So they obviously, in all seriousness, they do have Kelsey, Fordson, Gray, and Bell. That's 4 tight ends already under contract.
But 2 of those guys are on one-year deals.
2 of the guys,
you
two of the guys can be cut in a heartbeat if they need to. So, no, I don't think it really changes the draft philosophy, because there is a chance that the way we've talked about Kincaid or any of these other top-tier or tight ends, they're pass catchers. They could technically line up as wide receivers as well. Now, I don't think they're keeping five tight ends. So one of these other guys would be out of the picture if they drafted one in the first round.
They carried 4 tight ends. Hold on. At times last year, they carried 4 tight ends and a fullback. So just ditch fullback and carry 5 tight ends.
I don't need
Who the hell
5
needs
tight
a
ends?
fullback anyway?
Well, don't care. I'm not saying they should have a fullback on the roster, but I also don't need 5 tight ends. Don't carry a fullback anymore. But I just don't need 5 tight ends.
If you got to call Jody Fortson the 6th wide receiver to make you feel better about it, then let's just do it.
Now, whoever, if they draft a pass catcher tight end and have that guy listed as the 6th wide receiver, fine. But 5 tight ends now.
You won't sign up for that, huh?
As you just said yourself,
10% of your roster.
If Blake Bell's in camp, there's also injuries that happen. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Jody Fortson and Blake Bell have not exactly been guys that have played full seasons recently. They've both had injury history.
They have. No, Gray's been healthy. And Kelsey's always healthy. But this isn't real wood.
Well, I just still knocked on it,
At best,
buddy.
this is...
Every time I knock on that, you bring up the same thing.
Yes.
You say it's not right, then we have a 30-second conversation about the
Look,
makeup
there's
of
real
our
wood down
table
here.
and studio.
There's real wood down here. Just knock on this thing underneath. If you're going to do it, lean in.
You want Alex to crawl around the table and knock on the wood in between your legs.
There might be some on this side, too.
Alex, do you have any wood down there?
It looks like it, yep.
Can I just do my Blue Chew read now?
Go for it. Floor's yours.
Is this the time to do it?
Yes.
You can do your next one completely live if you want.
Make me feel good about sex again.
I will. Alex is worried about, the wood near him, so let's just make sure that we get that covered. Go to BlueChew.com, your first month free, using promo code Cody. Just pay $5 shipping.
Oh, is that right?
That's it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good to go.
That. There are moves that have been happening around the NFL, and I think some more than others certainly actually factor into the conversation of competitiveness in the AFC. I told you that I think what the Miami Dolphins have done, if Tua is healthy, because we saw how dominant they were when he was healthy, I do think out of all the moves that have happened around Kansas, around the NFL that may impact Kansas City, I should say, to me, the one that has the most direct impact on them perhaps is still Miami. Like, if you're asking, who has a chance to get in that Cincinnati and Buffalo conversation as the real contenders with, I think Miami has the best chance to enter that group, more so than, Cleveland signed Elijah Moore on a trade.
Yeah.
Like the trade, I think it's a smart trade, but I don't consider Cleveland anywhere near a top 3 or 4 team in the AFC.
I was trying to decide if there's a single player move that would make me feel like they got thrust into the stratosphere of the Chiefs, Bills, and Bengals this season, and my answer is no. I just don't think it's possible. I'm not worried about the signings that the Chargers make, the Jets make, Cleveland makes, Jacksonville, Miami. The Jets is the only interesting one because what version of Aaron Rodgers do they get? But the supplementary ones are not the ones that make me think they shoot in the stratosphere. They just have to get old Aaron Rodgers back from 2 years ago, and they'll probably be somewhere in this conversation. Weirdly enough, all the teams that have made those previous trades, the ones for future Hall of Fame quarterbacks late career, they make a title game in 90% of the time in the first 2 years. So whether it be Peyton Manning or Brett Favre, or in this case, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, whatever, Joe Montana for the Chiefs actually falls into this category as well. They almost always make a title game within the first 2 seasons of ending up as their quarterback. So maybe you could make an argument for them. But all these other ones, the Jalen Ramsey one, the signings that Cleveland or the Chargers have made to the point, I still think there's too big of a gap between the top 3 teams in the AFC and the rest of it. And I'm not saying the AFC top to bottom is not incredibly deep, because it is. But I still think it's 1, 2, 3, give me a break, and then we'll get to the rest.
My struggle
until one of these 2 teams takes a drop off in Cincinnati or Buffalo.
The tough thing for Buffalo is going to be that they have Miami, and then they have the Jets that you just mentioned that we think will end up having Andy Reid. And so Buffalo, to me, is not falling off a cliff or anything, but the way we talked about the AFC West last year going in, and how everybody locally and nationally thought, oh, man, this is going to be the best division we've ever seen. We haven't seen these quarterbacks. We all found out that just was simply not the case. That's what I think actually the AFC will be if Aaron Rodgers is in that division. The Bills, who reportedly are the front runners for DeAndre Hopkins right now, too, based on reports, Aaron Wilson and others. Then you have a Dolphins team that I think got better. The big question mark, understandably so, is going around the health of Tua. Can he stay healthy, not be in concussion protocol throughout the season again? And then we're talking now about the Jets, who defensively were legit already. They go and get and
they've definitely improved their offense.
And we think Aaron Rodgers. Plus, they still have draft picks. And that division, it will make it tougher on Buffalo getting to an AFC title game based off of seeding and path. That's the part that holds me up a little bit there. But I think the Miami Dolphins have a chance to enter that number 3 spot conversation. Because whoever wins that AFC East, frankly, Cody, like that's how I'm viewing it. Like for me, it's Kansas City and Cincinnati, 1-2. But after that 3rd spot, it's whoever wins the AFC East for me. And you can't tell me definitively for the first time in a couple years that
quarterback. Like, don't think
would be
have to bring them into this conversation. Man, there's too many good quarterbacks in the AFC.
I understand. Like when you just say it out loud like that, it sounds right.
Yeah, nobody's gonna argue with me.
I did see like heck when we were Dolphins. In fact, it's fun that the Dolphins were rolling. I was telling you guys, really being maybe one of the true contenders. So I'm remembering what it looked like when he
was Jalen Ramsey.
And they have 2 with a concussion off, and they're